When I started playing Arknights back in December at the request of some of my viewers, I never thought that I'd be making a video of this nature. Fast forward to Endfield's release and here I am. So, today, we're going to do a bit of digging into the lore of the Arknights universe and hopefully answer the question, what are the Reconveners? Let's get into it. So first off, this will have some mild spoilers, though I'm pretty hesitant to call them spoilers given the whole open secret nature of Laevaitain's questline, but potentially spoilers for that, so if you haven't yet cleared that quest, it may be best to stop the video here and go complete that first. At this point, if you're still here, you either don't mind spoilers, or you've completed the quest and likely have a vague idea of what a Reconvener could be. But the quest basically served as an introduction of sorts to the concept. By exploring the relationship and or correlations between Surtur and Laevatain, we're given a glimpse at a small slice of an overall massive system. If you've never played the original Arknights or seen the anime adaptation before, let me fill you in on a key concept that's going to tie directly into this whole thing: Oripathy. Oripathy, sometimes referred to as stone disease, was a disease caused by either direct or prolonged exposure to Originium. Once you contracted Oripathy, you were said to be a member of the Infected. Rhodes Island, the pharmaceutical company from the first game, is looking for a cure to the disease, but no such cure exists, even as of today to this moment. Since there's no cure and the disease is presently fatal, and worse yet, highly contagious. And the method of death? Guilty crown. Man, I've really got to stop with the dated references. Dr. Stone. Get it? They turn to stone. Well, turn to stone and violently explode into shards, infecting anyone in a given area without special protective gear, that is. Anyways, what does all of this have to do with Reconveners? Well, Originium is this sort of self-propagating high-energy crystal that's capable of assimilating things into itself. So if you've been infected with your magic space rock cancer, your information is stored within the Originium. Sort of a cloud storage or backup system. The Matrix, if you will. Take the red pill, Neo. So, a Reconvener is a sort of clone of a person whose genetic information has been stored by the Originium. In the case of Laevatain, she is a Reconvener of the Rhodes Island operator Surtur. Surtur herself had memory issues which were passed down to Laevatain, and their appearance is nearly identical. We know of several other Reconveners in Arknights Endfield too. Gilbert is an example, being a Reconvener of Angelina. Ardelia is a Reconvener of Eyjafjalla. Pogronschnik is a Reconvener of Helliger, and Snowshine is a Reconvener of Aurora. The list goes on. And those are the obvious ones. There are some more that are questionable, such as Antal, who may be a descendant of his Rhodes Island counterpart 12F. There are also outright confirmed descendants like Chin Chinyu. But we actually get more details about Reconveners and their role in Endfield Industries from the Nexus lore entry on Reconveners. Access Authority Level 8. Optical ID not required for Authority Level 8 access. Bug wire scan passed. File category 302. The Endfield HR database has a list of special operators whose profiles are managed separately and locked behind an incredibly high authority level. These special operators have the right to directly communicate with senior corporate officers of Endfield Industries, and all of them are special Rhodes Island liaisons working at Endfield pursuant to the Framework Agreement on special technical roles in cooperation between Endfield Industries and Rhode Island Pharmaceuticals. Most of these operators usually do not work at Endfield facilities and do not carry out Endfield assignments on a regular basis. Instead, they are often involved in various roles throughout Talos 2. These special operators are known by an esoteric title, Reconveners. The first Originium crystal that traversed the Aether Gate to arrive at Talos 2 was contaminated in the final battle of the First Agaloy War. The very fundamental nature of the info crystal was damaged, causing degradation in its properties. Despite the contamination, several intact data shards remained within the chaos of its assimilated universe. Should anyone wish to navigate the corrupted data streams within, these shards can be perceived as a never-extinguishing beacon of blinding light. To achieve various objectives, both the Administrator and M3 tactily allowed Warfarin, the leader of Rhodes Island at that time, to conduct emergency repairs and decontamination of the first Originium. For reasons unknown, the reversing nature of Aether was greatly slowed near the data vein. When Warfarin deciphered this data vein, depth readings of a data shard underwent a spontaneous spike as it decrypted from the assimilated universe into real space. The first Reconvener arrived by accident and without the administrator's knowledge. Warfarin was also unprepared for the arrival. Thus far, every Reconvener who left the Originium Woods has been friendly and willing to work with Rhodes Island and the administrator. All of them also seem capable of realizing that they are a unique individual despite sharing partial knowledge of the life experiences and interpersonal relationships stemming with distant memories of Terra. Such knowledge also allows Reconveners to use the skills and abilities wielded by their original counterparts. Warfarin later found a way to commune with the data shards. Despite the concerns of others aware of their existence, she began to actively explore the Originium Woods. Warfarin encountered data shards, willing to set foot on Talos 2, and thus she designed a process to better lead them out of the woods and into the new world. Many Reconveners arrived at Talos 2 while the administrator hibernated. The Reconveners began exploring the world and seeking their own destinies, and they did so with the goal of assisting the administrator in mind. Leading Reconveners out of the woods is essentially an act of creation. Warfarin bore the responsibilities for her actions, though she would occasionally vent out her frustrations to Enfielders who knew of this project. After every stress-fueled episode, she would remind everyone of how years of extensive experience taught her that everything was worth its while. Note, the years of extensive experience Warfarin claims to have are subject to change, with the figure being 500 years a century ago, 300 years half a century ago, and dropping to just 20 years in her most recent claims. Any Rhodes Islander and Enfielder is willing to trust in the beacon of the woods as well as the wills that followed the light and emerged from the roiling chaos. I believe so too. So here we learn several things. One, Rhodes Island is still currently around, and at least at the time of this entry, the Talos 2 branch was being headed up by Warfarin, the vampire-like Sarkaz healer from the original Arknights game. 2. Rhodes Island and Endfield Industries have a mutually beneficial relationship, actively working with one another, which makes perfect sense given that Rhodes Island co-founded Endfield Industries, making them a subsidiary essentially. 3. Reconveners in most cases have a vague idea of who they were previously, though they can have different branching experiences and personalities from their previous selves because they're a different person, but still maintain some of their previous form's knowledge and skills. In the case of Pogroshnik, for example, he views Helliger as a mentor and friend rather than who he is or was. 4. Reconveners come from the Originium Woods, which Warfarin decided to explore and shepherd Reconveners to Talos 2 after she found a way to convene with them. What's all of this mean though? Think about the pull animation. You pull a lever and it drops pods from Dijon to Talos 2, right? But what's in those pods? If you look, it's Originium crystals. When we perform pulls in the game, we're summoning characters from the Originium. You could say that this doesn't work with every situation. I just mentioned earlier that Chen isn't actually a Reconvener, and there are various new characters who also follow that same logic, like Wolfguard, but yet they come from the Originium crystals. So what's the deal? Well, we don't know for 100% sure, but here's my theory. Originium didn't go from being an issue on Terra to just being a miracle on Talos 2. One of our first missions in Chapter 1, The Broken Lands, has us assisting Jenny by giving her meds to lessen the effects of erypathy. But Perlica mentions there's still no cure at this point. Since erypathy still exists, it can be assumed that the assimilation aspects of Originium are present as well. I believe prolonged contact with Originium crystals has caused characters like Wolfguard and Chen to enter the Originium Woods. They're not Reconveners because they still yet live, but their potentials are available as a result. So, to summarize, what is a Reconvener? A Reconvener, as established by these facts, is a clone or copy of someone whose identity has been assimilated by Originium and reproduced on Talos 2 as a new person who retains some memories and skills of their previous incarnation. Laevatain being somewhat of an exception since she inherited the original Surtur's condition of suffering from excessive overlapping contradictory memories. Typically speaking, Reconveners also have a tendency to have original counterparts that hail from Terra and the original Arknights timeline. This isn't fully confirmed 100% to be the case though, since we haven't had too many, but the lore entry seems to make it pretty clear that it is. And Reconveners also originate from within the Originium Forest, where they're reborn and guided to life by Warfarin of the Talos II Rhodes Island branch and summoned using the pull method in the game. The last thing I want to leave you all with today is just a little question for discussion in the comments section. What's your theories on M3? At first glance, it seems that M3 is clearly Monster herself, or a Reconvener of maybe Monster or Calcit, right? But she's mentioned as being present with the Inmen prior to the very first Reconvener arriving. It also mentions that she and Inmen both decided to allow Warfarin to conduct emergency repairs and decontamination on the first Originium. So who is M3 really? Is she Monster? Is she Calcit? What's the truth here? Comment down below and let me know what you think. If you want to keep up with me, feel free to join the Autumn's Army Discord or follow me on X. Subscribing on YouTube is the best way to keep up to date on all my videos, and if you're interested in reading my guides in text format, feel free to head on over to icyveins.com, where you can find all of the guides written by yours truly and a few friends of mine, including Ryan himself. Anyways, that's all for today. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace!